you guys on Zoom, if you're here for CE, be sure your camera is on. Otherwise, we cannot give you CE credit. We have to actually monitor the call and make sure that whoever is getting CE stays on the call on video the entire time. If you're here just for fun, then you can keep your camera off. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. And BJ will monitor the chat, and you can also interrupt me. I want you guys to ask questions. This is interactive. This is just information that I've just pulled up through the years and what I have learned just through experience. But each one of you guys in the room have your own experience. You listen to your own podcasts, you attend your own trainings. And so share information with each other. You were upside down, Renee.
It's because I got my plug in my phone. I was trying to spin it around. I'm like, oh, won't be able to do that.
Like you were doing flips.
Okay, there we go. Good morning.
Good morning. Has anyone attempted a somersault in the last 10 years? Katie and Will on the ground, you've done it in the pool. It cracks me up how kids will just like, oh yeah, I can do that, and they'll flip in the air, and now I even try. That's it. That's exactly right. They are close to the ground. It doesn't hurt near as badly as if you fall. Hey, Debbie. Hello. I'm giving everybody just a few minutes to get here, and then we're going to start on time, so we end on time this time.
I found a book for you.
Oh, what is it?
Have you read Tim Tebow's? Tim Tebow. It is. Hold on. Mission Impossible. Go create life.
Ooh.
And it comes with a goal strategy book, and obviously, like you order those if you want to do that.
To do it along with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mission Possible. Go create a life.
Go create a life that counts.
That counts. I love it. For those of you guys who haven't been following or we haven't had the conversation, I have been working for the last couple of years really figuring out. Bridget, mute yourself. I think Bridget, you're the one coming through. I've been doing this for a long time, and I really hit a burnout spot a couple of years ago, right before COVID hit. I was at that point where it's like, maybe it's time for me to put a 5-year plan together and figure out how to transition out of the business, because I was just tired. And then COVID happened, and I went through a reassessment of life itself because, gosh, there was just so much happening so fast, and it was a lot of unknown and big changes going on. And so I thought, well, what if I could just change up and do the things that I really enjoy doing and find people that enjoy the things that I don't enjoy doing and just create more partnerships? How long could I stay in the business if I really was strategic about making sure that life and business was really what I wanted it to be instead of what it organically became? It was just that pause and reflect moment. And so that's why we were just talking, Angie and I were talking about just the power of being really intentional about how you're living your life, where you're spending your time, who you're connecting with, and just valuing that and evaluating it more so that you are doing more of what you enjoy doing. Now, there's a lot of things in life you just got to do because you just got to do it, like paying bills. That's no fun, but it has to be done. So there's some things that you just can't avoid. So I literally started this process with a 3-column list, and it was a list that I kept going for several weeks, maybe even several months. Well, I still assess that list. So I guess it's an ongoing list. So y'all want to hear what it is? It's so simple. 3 columns: the things I love to do, the things that I'm okay doing because I have to do them, and I'm okay with it. And sometimes being okay with it means I need to reframe it and be, find something to be grateful about. And then another column is the things I do not want to do anymore because I don't like it at all. Like it puts me in a grumpy mood. And I even went through the whole reflection of not just actions, like these things I love, these things I'm okay with and I have to do, these things I don't like to do and I'm not doing them anymore. So then it's like, okay, of all of these things I don't like to do, who in my life do I have right now that would love to do these things? And how do I transition for them to do those things so I can quit doing them? And so sometimes it's a training curve. Sometimes you've got to coach people up to be able to do that. Sometimes it's reaching out across the aisle and really finding someone to partner with. You guys have people in your office that, in y'all's line of work, just like our line of work, you got to wear so many flipping hats. You got to be a salesperson, but you also got to be techie enough to get everything that you need into processes and systems using technology as a tool and not a hindrance. And then you got the people side of things and you got the task side of things. And then y'all are transactional too. You got all of these deadlines and you got to dot the I's and cross the T's. So you have to be people oriented, but you also got to be detail minded enough. If any of those things that you got to do as part of the process, you got buyer side, you got seller side, you got commercial, you got residential, you got land, you got homes, you got, unique properties, and you got your plain Jane properties, you got new builds, you got old. You guys, the list goes on and on and on, and you don't have to be everything to everybody. But if you're not going to be those things, then figure out who you could partner with that could and would with greater joy. So whenever you really start calling out all of these things, that you can really start figuring out what it is about this business I love and how do I want to do it. And that part's really important. What we're going to talk about today is just follow-up itself, because it's all connections and conversations and communication. We don't, hardly ever does someone raise their hand today and go, hey, I want to go buy a house. You go show them a house, you write a contract, you're done. But even if that were to happen, you still have follow-up to do, because you want to continue to do business. You just built rapport with somebody. You just, cross that know, like, and trust barrier. So these are now your people. This is your tribe of people that you should be doing more business with, should be doing business with their friends and family. But how do you follow up with them so that you stay top of mind for them? So we'll talk through a couple of different strategies, and I'll go over some stats just so you guys realize the importance, but also not just the importance in the follow-up, but how much follow-up you got to do. Realizing too that buyer psychology has totally changed. It's changed in the last 2 years from what it used to be. But the other part of that whole assessment reflection process that I went through, and thank you guys all for being here. We got 13 on the call and quite a few of you guys in the room. So I appreciate it. But the other part of that process too was I'm very strategic. Everything I do is on my calendar. Even the cookie crumbles for what I'm going to accomplish is on the calendar. So if I'm going to have this event, then you're going to see on the calendar all of the things I got to do to lead up to that event. And so and then you got these people on your calendar that you're going to meet with, right? Clients, referral partners, whatever it is. If there's anybody in your calendar, or there's somebody you're about to meet, and when their name comes up on your phone because they just called or text you, and you cringe and you go, oh, I can't stand talking to that person, and you still choose to do business with them, that is not going to be a joy-filled life. But there's probably someone else in your office that you could partner up with that does fit that personality well. So create those partnerships and find out who likes to work with who, and start doing some partnering up. So you guys are doing more of the things that you enjoy doing instead of the things that you dread doing. Makes your day go by faster and life a lot sweeter. So good morning, Jen. If you guys in the classroom are here for CE, be sure you sign. I need everybody to sign the roster, because that's how you're getting credit for being here. But if you're here for CE, then you need to put CE by your name so that we know to log the hours for you. The surveys. Go ahead, BJ. Okay, no. Renee, do you have something?
No, getting ready to email the group and I thought I hung up accidentally because I'm trying to find the chat. So I was going to let BJ know.
If you're here on the call and you're here for CE, be sure you put in the chat that you want CE so that BJ can log those hours for you. Those of you guys that have been attending these classes for a while know, put your license number and your name the way it appears on your license. And we typically get your hours logged within 24 hours, 48 at worst case scenario. So if you don't see it logged, then you need to reach out and let us know, because that means we overlooked something, punched a number in wrong or whatever. So I want to make sure you guys get credit. All right, I'm going to share screen unless anybody has something interesting to share, some stats they've just read or something they've learned in terms of follow-up. Struggles or frustrations you guys have had on follow-up. All right, you guys are quiet. There's coffee in the back of the room if you need it. All right.
I'll come on, Mike, with a frustration, I guess. We talk about how many platforms there are. You know, sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming with, you know, how many places you need to keep up with people. And maybe if there's something that we can touch on with that, you know, and if you're not all in on a CRM, you know, even though some of our brokerages provide them, they don't necessarily provide awesome training for them. And so just if there's something better to utilize that could keep it all in one platform.
Tony, thank you for joining today.
Yes, ma'am.
You got a baby coming real soon, don't you?
Yep. It's a few weeks away. So we're excited.
So is ours, and I'm so excited. I got to get a Mexico trip done first. I keep telling my daughter she cannot have a baby while I'm gone. Yes, CRM. So how many guys, I'm gonna share, you guys in the chat box, and you guys in the room, raise your hand. How many of you guys have a CRM that was provided to you by the broker? How many of you guys are using the CRM provided by the broker? How many of you guys have a CRM outside of your broker that you're also using? How are you using your CRM? I mean, you've got two different platforms.
I cross-reference both. Just use one for say automation,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other
Okay. A CRM, are you using like an Excel spreadsheet? Okay, cool. Hey, I'm a spreadsheet nerd. I love the heck out of a good spreadsheet. In fact, what you guys have in front of you is a spreadsheet. I will have to borrow. I'll grab one just to show you guys on screen in just a few minutes. A spreadsheet it doesn't matter what you're using. However, a CRM will keep you from forgetting. You could keep it all on a spreadsheet, which is a good backup plan. And yes, Preston, then you have to cross-reference back and forth all the time. The automation is what keeps the conversions consistent, because if you have to trust your brain and your busy schedule to do the follow-up manually, people are going to slip through the cracks. It's just impossible not to. As good, and I'm not saying because you guys don't care. I'm not saying because you guys aren't organized. I'm just saying y'all are busy. And y'all are busy going in so many different directions that your brain can only handle so much without a brain dump. And the CRM allows you to brain dump. So does everybody familiar with what a CRM is? All right. Kind of, sort of. So it's just customer retention, customer retention management. So it is basically a system that is created for you to put all of your contacts in. You can sort the contacts. You can, you can sort the contact by all of the data that is inputted. So your CRM is only as good as the information you're sticking in it. And most CRMs have drip campaigns where there's automated follow-up. So so I'm not sure, Tony, what comment I made that you missed. But so what CRM do you guys have, Preston? Monday? What do y'all have at Easy Life now?
Rocket Agent.
Rocket. And does anybody in the room have Boomtown or Sync? Okay. All right. Well, that just gives me, Sync is, yes, it's a software and an app. No, but those are all real good questions. Don't hesitate to ask them, because there are others on the call that are asked or that are thinking the same thing. So don't ever hesitate to ask. Sync is CINC. It is a very robust, expensive CRM. So is Boomtown. Both of them were created, and I think Sync even actually just recently changed their name. They went through rebranding. Those were all created to work with paid leads. So the lead comes straight into the system, and then you can use the system for your contacts, but it also is got that automatic feed. Exactly.
So if you were to get your own program,
Mm-hmm.
Sync is what it's called. It could link to it can't link to your Rocket Agent. So it's your own, so.
Yeah, I mean, to me, honestly, I would use the platform that's available through your broker.
Because it's, I mean, like you said, there's so many.
And let me tell you, I am a nerd when it comes to utilizing every tool available within a tech pack. So any technology packages there is, I utilize the heck out of every button there is and figuring out how do I get more done in less time and have the most amount of impact. I'm always thinking that way. And I have looked at quite a few CRMs. They all basically do the same thing. So I wouldn't overthink the CRM. I just highly recommend that you guys use one. Spreadsheets are great. It's a good way to keep up with people, but there's nothing automated about it other than if you synced it to your calendar and had tasks that you created in your calendar and calendar entries. But if you used a CRM, all of that is built in. So so the rest of your life's not so cluttered and have so much chaos. So I'm going to go through some stats just so that you guys can understand the why behind what the conversation looks like. But I think that it's really important anytime you're following up, you understand who are you following up with? I mean, like, where did the reach out come from? So that your communication is really clear and you're providing resources or answers. Because people raise their hand at some capacity, whether it's they had a conversation with a friend and a friend said, hey, I don't know the answers to that question, but call my friend Preston because he's a realtor and he does. Whether that contact came from there or it came because someone clicked a button on Zillow and said, I'm thinking about doing something in the near future. Understanding where that contact came from is really important because your conversation you always want to carry or continue a conversation that was started either verbally or nonverbal. So knowing the source of that referral is super important, and it'll change your script on how you're connecting with people. But at the end of the day, you have to know, what is my intention with this contact? What am I trying to accomplish whenever I make this phone call? If it's a referral, it's a fresh lead. Your intention is to get in front of this person, right?
Right.
So that's your goal, that's your intention, and that's what you tell yourself before you ever pick up the phone. What am I trying to accomplish with this conversation? And if it's a new referral, you're trying to accomplish a face-to-face, even if it's by Zoom. It's still a face-to-face. There is a difference in the conversation when you get in front of someone, either by Zoom, FaceTime, however you're going to get in front of them, versus talking on the phone. You can tell body language and eye contact, and you know where the conversation needs to go if you can see them. They can also see the empathy and care and concentration and the fact that you're really zoned in and focused on what they have to say when you're face to face. So your goal is always to be in front of people. So now sometimes your goal is to be in front of them, to show them houses and to find out more what their needs are. What are they looking for in a house? Reading their body language, because now you're in front of them. So just be really clear about why am I reaching out to this person. But let me just share some stats with you. And I tried updating this, and I said I'm a spreadsheet nerd, but apparently not too much, because I couldn't get my graph to work last night to update this. So you guys only have it through 2018, but you can still see the trajectory. So in 2012 is when I transitioned from notebook and sticky notes to actually a spreadsheet as my way of keeping up with people. So that was at the tail end, or about halfway through 2012. So before that, I literally trusted my brain to remember who I was supposed to be reaching out to. And guess what? It didn't work real well. I couldn't even tell you how many people I talked to in a week, and if I talked to them, what the results of the conversation was. I did not track any of it because I didn't have a way to track it. I was not keeping up with it other than a pencil, because I make lots of mistakes and I need an eraser, and sticky pads. So when I changed over to an Excel spreadsheet, much like the one that you guys have in front of you that I'm going to go over in just a few minutes, and we just started tracking, who did I talk to? How many times did I talk to him? Where did the referral come from? So I could do edification and gratification for the referral source. So 2013 sales dipped for me because we were putting processes and systems in place in order for us to be better at what we did. And then from 14 up, in 2020, we did right at 500 units. That's 500 families in this area that we served through a home loan between Brandy and I in 2020. And then 2021, we dipped down just a little bit, and we were off our, we were off. I always like to be up at least +1, and we weren't in 2021. And I had a mental meltdown, but then I realized it's okay. And we'll worry about this year today. And, but it all started with keeping track of who we're talking to, what we're saying, where it came from, and how many times we're reaching out. So I'm going to give you guys some stats real quick, just so you understand the importance. And then I do want to talk to you about the follow-up. So just to get you guys into, 40% of salespeople say the most challenging part of the sales process is the prospecting part. How many of you guys agree? How many of you guys really love prospecting? Nobody's raised their hand. It's hard, y'all. It's hard. It's not, it's like, who do you reach out to? What do you say? How often do you reach out to them? When do you call again? How do you reach out to them? Are you going to call, text, email? Do you do a newsletter? Do you not do a newsletter? How often do you post? Are you posting to the right audience? All of that stuff is overwhelming. Where else can I go that nobody else is going to for business? Those are all the prospecting questions that you have. So knowing and understanding where you're going to go to get the business and where the business is coming from is part of that whole conversation. But it's still a warm follow-up, a Zillow follow-up. As an example, you guys have 5 minutes at the most to reach out to that Zillow before they click another button and reach out to another agent. And it is seriously speed to lead whenever you're talking about a cold lead. They don't know you. All they know is they have some questions and they're hoping you can answer them. And if you don't answer those questions fast enough, guess what? They're clicking another button. We are in the process of homeschooling my granddaughter right now. She's 13 years old. And I look at her and her patterns and I think, holy moly, these are my buyers in another 6 to 7 years, right? She clicks buttons and expects answers so flipping fast, she didn't even give it a second. Neither do your buyers. They're clicking buttons. But guess what? If you don't get back to them real quick while they're thinking about it, while they're on the screen, they close out the screen and they go take care of something else. They are now distracted and they're no longer thinking real estate. A kid just threw up. They got a call from school. They got busted by the boss looking online at houses, whatever it was, they're distracted. So you have very little time to reach out to those internet leads. If the referral came as a warm referral, it's totally different conversation. If Deb says, hey, listen, I heard you say you guys are thinking about moving in the near future. I know the market's really crazy. Don't know what it takes to have your house ready to be sold, but you might want to call Preston and ask those questions if you guys are thinking about doing something in the next 90 days. I'm going to share his contact with you. Just shoot him a text. All right. So Deb says that to me. I text Preston and I say, hey, Deb's a friend of mine. Debbie or Deb?
I like both.
Okay, well,
That is great.
I like Deb too. All right. So I text Preston and I say, hey, I'm thinking about buying or selling my house this spring. And Deb told me to reach out to you and see what I need to do to get my house ready. That's a totally different conversation. That's a text back that says, what would you say? And then what would you do? You just got a text message from me. Get them in the CRM immediately. All of your CRMs, the lead goes, the referral goes into your CRM immediately because your CRMs are built with reach out cadences of some kind. If they're not, turn them on. They have them built in. Better yet, customize them to be in your own language. If you casually speak, redo your drip campaigns and your CRM to be in your own language. But don't stop there. All right, Preston, I say, great, let's meet up. When? Where? Yes. Then the conversation is narrowed down to, would you like to get together today or tomorrow?
Yep.
Would you prefer morning or evening? Great, I'm going to stick it on my calendar. I'm going to send you a calendar reminder. Usually it doesn't go down like that. Usually you got to follow up multiple times. So referral, regardless of where it comes from, goes into the CRM first. When we enter a CRM, a referral in our system, we also enter a task because in our office, no lead left behind. And what I mean by that is we're going to follow up until someone tells us to stop. Because I know they're not ignoring me. I know they're busy. I know they get distracted. I know they have intentions of connecting with me. They just haven't because of whatever outside influence has caused that not to happen. I don't take offense to it. I don't say, well, they don't like me. They must have decided not to work with me. You still follow up. So 44% of salespeople give up after one follow-up. I was listening to Tom Ferry on my way here this morning just to make sure that I had the greatest, freshest information. 1.4 is the average number of times that real estate agents follow up with referrals. They try once and stop. And it's because you don't have a system put in place to help you remember, and you can only remember so much. So, number 3 stat, that article that I gave you guys, I'll send the link because there's all kind of really good stuff in there. But 80% of sales require 5 follow-ups. But let me share some other stats for you. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. It goes into their system through automated processes, and that's where it stops. They don't pick up the phone. You overthink it. Sometimes you go, oh my gosh, they're asking me about a condo and I know nothing about condos. I got to research condos. And next thing you go into research world and you're wasted 30 minutes of your time. Pick up the phone and do your research while you're talking to them. Maybe you thought they were interested in condos. You guys, we don't have that many condos around here. So the conversation's super short. There's probably not even a condo for sale right now. So don't go into researching something before picking up the phone, because you're making assumptions that you know what they want without even asking the questions. So 25. So I think a lot of it is paralysis by analysis that keeps people from picking up the phone and having a conversation, because you don't know what to say. You guys, we're in the people business. Yeah.
So I've been working with this couple and they're moving. I've got them in a lease.
I'll repeat in just a second. Mm-hmm.
So how often do I touch them during this next year to keep my face out there?
I would monthly. You guys, the follow-up doesn't always have to be about real estate.
Michelle,
It could be, you could have a forward conversation. Yeah, BJ. Do you want to hear the
those of us on Zoom
Yep.
can't hear the questions in the audience. So would you mind repeating those as you answer?
Yep, that's a good point. I forget about that. I'm a novice still at this Zoom and live. All right, so the question was, if you have someone you've been showing houses to, they get frustrated, they can't find anything, they gotta find housing because of the situation is more urgent than, so they rent. And so they sign a 1-year lease. How often should you follow up with them if someone signed a 1-year lease? My answer was monthly. And it doesn't always have to be about real estate. Your follow-up can just be a forward conversation. Does everybody know what forward is? It can just be a check-in. Hey, just wanted to check on you and the family. How are you guys doing? There's a lot of strep and flu and stomach virus going around. Want to make sure you're safe and happy. I mean, healthy. Happy is nice too. How's work going? Is everything good there? Because guess what? That matters. If they're going to be buying a house in a year, keeping their job matters, or not changing the line of work without making sure that it's going to not cause a problem whenever you're ready to buy a house, right?
You recommend that, so reaching out to one of the spouses verbally or text, and then sending email out, saying hello to, to the spouse and the
Yes.
spouse.
Yes.
That,
Yes.
that
Typically, so the question is, if you've got a husband and wife, who do you reach out to? Typically, it's one or the other that's engaged in the conversation. And typically, we, right or wrong, we typically will continue the conversation with the person that showed the initiative to have a relationship or a connection, right? But whenever you're emailing, it's best to summarize that conversation that you had by phone in an email to both of them. I don't know about you guys, but a household is busy, and husband and wives often have intentions of having a conversation. But by the time they get the kids wrestled, homework done, fed, and in bed, they're tired. And they don't have the conversation they intended to have. So I think it's important, if you're going to have texting and phone conversation with the main person, follow up with a summary of an email to both parties to help them stay in communication with each other.
just while you're texting one, because I send you text them all because I'm not. I get nervous on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm talking to strangers or trying to develop a relationship with a client. So far, I'll get better at it. But one thing I have done was include both phone numbers so that both of them are it's like a group text.
Like a group text, and you can do that too with your texting. So the follow-up itself, I mean, the more just remember, don't get your feelings hurt. People are busy. They intend to converse with each other. They don't. So the better you are at helping them stay in communication as a couple so that everybody stays on the same page, the better. Now, your CRMs typically are set up for whatever numbers in the system, and it's going to go out to both in the system. So that helps connect those dots for you. But if it's casual conversation that you're having by phone, yes, connect them.
Michelle, would,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're going to talk about pop buys in just a few minutes because that is such a great way. Yes, ma'am.
would
BJ.
you mind sharing your screen with us, please?
Oh, you can see it behind, but you can't. Yep. I can, and I will. There's some great stats for you guys. So 25% of salespeople make it to the second contact and they stop. 12% of salespeople make it to 3 contacts and stop. Only 10% of salespeople will make it to 3 contacts before they stop. You guys look at the bottom. 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th reach out or contact. Don't stop. Continue the conversation. And the best thing for you guys to do is make really good notes about what your conversation was the last time you talked. Calling people out by their first name and remembering the conversation that you had previously, no matter how minor it seems to you, matters. People feel seen, people feel heard, and they will connect with you. Those are 2 basic needs, you guys. Being seen and being heard are 2 basic needs. They want to feel validated, and you can help them feel validated and connect with them when you call them out by their first name and you remember parts of the conversation that you had the last time you talked. Super important. And if you reach out to them 5 to 12 times, every time calling out their name and remembering something about your previous conversation so you can continue that conversation, they will feel like you connected with them, that you heard them, you see them, you care. And then it's just a matter of continuing that conversation, knowing that your goal is to get in front of them. Next, your goal is to get them to go look at houses with you or to talk about what it looks like to sell their house, right? Or the transaction's now closed and you guys are following up for the referral. What is the goal? My goal is to get a referral, because every transaction you do should turn into 2 transactions, which then will turn into 3 transactions, which then turns into 4 if you don't stop following up. So persistence pays off. The surveys have found that having a call sequencing strategy was a salesperson's best friend. 6 calls scheduled over 15-day period of time. Yeah.
Hey, Michelle, what about a potential client that you've yet to talk to? You've called them, you've texted them, you've emailed them, and still there's no return, conversation. So you don't know, you don't have any information to follow up with them on what we talked about because you haven't talked to them yet. Does the same hold true? You just keep on until you get them?
But Renee, I would be trying to find an open-ended question that I could ask that requires an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Not a yes or no, not a, hey, just checking in with you today. Do you have any questions? No, I don't have any questions today. Hey, I just noticed such and such. What if you shared some info? If it's a buyer, say it's a buyer, you've not talked to them before, but you know that they're interested in buying in a certain area. Hey, I just noticed this article and I wanted to share it with you. Share resources, share charts, share information, and ask an open-ended question. What else can I provide for you that would help you in this decision-making process?
Also, I found if you use kind of reverse psychology on them when they're not responding on the 3rd or 4th text and just do it gently. You know, if you change courses, if real estate's no longer in your near future, I can quit bugging you, kind of thing. Somebody, they'll
Yep.
usually chime in with like, oh, wait, I don't want you to go away. And then I also would send a similar listing if one is available to the one that they inquired on. So say they came in on Zillow or Realtor or inquired on one of your own listings. That one's already gone. You might dangle the carrot of a similar listing and say, I also noticed this one just hit the market. If it's of interest, then, you know, you'll grab their attention because you've provided them something of value.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
Yep.
I've also found that if I say, oh, I see that my system has automatically sent you an email and a text, if this is not what you want, let me know and I'll make it stop.
Yes.
And they usually respond to that.
We do a takeaway close like that too. And in ours is just a little bit different. It says in the subject line, did I drop the ball? And that email, when we send that out, and that goes out, Brandy, that goes out at, isn't that like the 6th or 7th? It's further down in the sequence of follow-up, but we'll text it and we'll call and send an email if we can't get any correspondence that said, did I drop the ball? So when you fall on the sword like that, people go, oh, no, y'all didn't do anything wrong. We get more responses when we do that than whenever we have a non-responsive referral. So Tony had a great suggestion. That one works really well too. But I'm just a real fan in providing resources and information that helps them with an open-ended question, but you have to have enough information about what they're looking for. So again, where the referral came from matters, because then you know what the conversation is, right? All right. So, you guys, when I was listening to Tom Ferry a while ago, Wednesdays and Thursdays are the best days for follow-up, according to this HubSpot article. But when I was listening to Tom Ferry this morning, his suggestion is every single day, 8 to 10, 4 to 6, 8 to 10, 4 to 6. If you get a referral today, you're going to call them immediately. And then the next day it's 8 to 10. And then you check back with them again at 4 to 6. You don't know what their rhythm and when it's best for them to communicate. So if you got to do morning and afternoon, don't hesitate doing it both in one day, because you don't know when they're available. When you do know what their schedule is and what their availability is, then you can change up the sequencing. But 8 to 10, 4 to 6, 8 to 10, 4 to 6. Wednesday, Thursday is your best reach out days for correspondence. So the slide's just a little bit different than what Tom Ferry was saying. Tom Ferry's is probably a little bit more current than this. Anybody on the call experience a better call schedule or day of the week that they're most successful in reaching people?
No,
Okay.
not.
I think 8 to 9, usually most people are commuting to work. You almost always will get them to answer if it's 8 to 9 in the morning. So I think that jives with Tom Ferry's as
Yeah.
well.
Any earlier than that is too early. 6 o'clock, you start calling after 6 o'clock. It's not a good idea either. So 8 to 10, 4 to 6, that gives you a 4-hour window. And for those of you guys who are really tracking your activities, you should be prospecting 20 to 21 hours a day, a week, a day. Hey, you guys would sell a lot of real estate really fast if you did 21 hours a day, 21 hours a week. So if you really did focus on connection from 8 to 10, 4 to 6 every single day, you guys are going to connect and convert. All right. Now,
Hours a week to do
21 hours a week of prospecting. Yep. Prospecting activities can be a multitude of activities, but 21 hours a week for prospecting. That leaves you the rest of the time to be showing and working on your business, or in your, on your business versus in your business. So you'll hear people say, you need to be working in your business, or working on your business 21 hours a day, and that's a week. Good gosh, forget it. You guys know what I mean. All right, millennials in the marketplace. So you guys, the millennials are changing the way we communicate. They're also changing the patterns in which we follow up. Video, 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 video. How many of you guys have video in your follow-up process? That should be the first thing that people receive from you is a video. Hey, my name is Michelle Castle. So glad you came to my website. I am very passionate about making sure that we guide you through the entire loan process, let you know exactly what's going on every step of the way. But what is most important for us is to make sure that we provide you at least 3 options, smartest, safest ways for you to buy a house, so that you can decide what works best for you. What we don't want to do is just give you a mortgage. We want to help you buy a home, but also we want to make sure that the loan helps you build equity in your home so you can leverage that equity to increase your wealth over time. We'd love to talk to you. Please let me know when a great time for me to connect. Just a quick video, 30 seconds. That is your first impression. Yes.
Okay, so for new agents that are not contacting me, be on video.
No, it's microphone because they can't hear you. You talk too quiet.
So when you're new to the industry, you're not, real comfortable doing those things, and so you don't have a video developed already to share. So you're implying that we just take a quick video of ourselves and okay, just at the moment.
Yep. If you guys are scared of video, you have to do video. You're not going to connect with people without video. You have to get over your fear. And let me tell you, don't replay or watch your video. If I have a conversation with you, you don't get to hit replay. When you pick up the phone and have a conversation with someone, you don't get to hit redo. So your videos shouldn't be either. They should be you being you. They don't need to be scripted. They don't need to be perfect. They don't need to be edited. Just be you, because people will connect with you when you do. And you just saw, how many of you guys on the Zoom call do videos at your first point of contact?
I haven't.
So out of what, 30 of us right here, none of you guys are using video as your first contact. Do you know how easy it would be for you guys to be the best first impression in your industry? If you're scared to do it, you come to my office. I'll stick the camera in front of your face. Ask Brandy and Will. I do it often. I will hit record. You guys will record a video and we'll get 3 or 4 or 5 videos for you guys to throw into your drip campaigns. It will make a difference. But remember, if you send a video out, a sincere video, best if you recorded it on the fly using their name in the video. Hey, I just got a, Zillow just pinged me and they said you were thinking about buying a house in the near future. I'd love to connect. Please tell me if it's best for me to call you at day or, 8 to 10 or 4 to 6.
So when we're doing follow-ups, would that be a great idea to, instead of sending a text,
Send a video.
In the car, stop for a moment and just send a text, and that way I've got my face on.
Yes.
And it's in their mind.
Yes. People do business with people. And when you are texting, when you're emailing, it's words. That's not a person. It's words. Be a person. Connect with them as people.
That's so much easier than
Heck of a lot easier. But even if you're texting, how many of you guys, and again, it's millennials that are really changing the way that we are thinking about all of this, because they live by video. I don't know about you guys, but I've even started watching TikTok on makeup tips. So, we're all into videos, right? And I'm old. So, video. But also, throw in the audio text, because again, they can see how much you care. When they are not reading the words in their own voice, they're hearing yours. So hit the little audio recorder and say, hey, I just received, I just sent you guys a great article through email. Please read it and just text me back and let me know if I'm on the right track or I'm on the wrong track, because I want to be able to provide the information that you need to help you make a decision. I know this is a hard decision. There's a lot going on, and I want to provide the information that you need to feel good about this decision, whatever it may be. Just be a resource, provide information, and connect with people. And you can't do it without those reach outs. All right. So you guys need to understand the video and the way we communicate and how quickly people want to be communicated with, because they're so easily distracted, is not going away. The younger generation, it's not, they're aging. They're at the point in another year, I think all of the largest population of kids, and I say kids because they're my kids' age, the largest population of kids are like right at 30 now. They're buying houses. They waited a little bit longer to buy houses, but they're buying houses. Of course, it's a little bit harder to buy houses right now for them. So it's taking a little bit longer. I don't know about you guys, but right now for us, we are doing, I talked to a guy yesterday, and he is my son's age. They went to school. So he's 32. He and his wife want to buy a house. He just went on salary. He tried a year ago. He was self-employed. They didn't report enough income. It couldn't make it work. A year from now, I mean, it's now a year later. Houses are a lot more expensive, $50,000 more than what they were when he was looking last year. And he went on W-2 about 6 months ago. So he thinks he's all ready to go. The problem is his wife is still self-employed and they're not reporting her income, but they need a place to live. So now my follow-up is not all about just getting the application. My follow-up is all about making sure that they stay on track, just like your tenant that is leasing right now. You guys, the longer it takes for someone to qualify to buy a house, the easier it is for them to do something stupid so they don't qualify. So if you're not staying in touch with them after you put a plan together, you know it won't work right now, but you want it to work in the future. If you don't stay in touch with them and make sure that they stay on track, they'll go buy a car. They'll go change jobs, or, you know, they may decide that they are going to go self-employed and run their own business. And now all of a sudden they don't qualify. And all of that follow-up you did, you got to start all over again and reset the clock, because you didn't continue to follow up and remind them to stay on track so they can buy a house.
I actually did nothing to know because where I was not.
Mhm.
I'm putting them in touch with you because they're wanting to start their investment properties. And he said, well, I'll go with whoever you say. And I said, well, I said, I really like Michelle, because not only is she working hard to get you a mortgage, but she's going to educate you along the way. Because this is the first time they've ever gotten into the investment property sector. And they're a young couple. And, you know, so I use that education as a way, you know, not only is she going to help you get a loan, but
You're going to learn something as you go.
yeah, so
Yeah.
you can do more investment properties along the way. You know the right way versus the wrong way of just winging it.
Yep. Yeah. So then that part's really important. Educating your people. They don't know what they don't know, though.
Right.
So they're not going to raise their hand and go, hey, I need to be educated.
And then
Right.
on Facebook, you share some pamphlets, and you can flip through these little pamphlets that, and for the life of me, I tried to find them again this morning, and I can't find them. And so that's the problem I find I'm running into, is finding things that I could use to market. And then I'm like, make a mental note. I need to go back to it.
Instead of saving the post. So whenever you guys run across something that is of interest to you, what I do, I screenshot stuff and send it to myself often so I can go back to that resource. So because you're right, we're in information overload these days, right? So providing information to people to help them stay connected is sometimes it's like, man, I'm running out of content. Well, I do a lot of screenshots so that I can go back and then send that information out. But whenever you have your people in a drip campaign, consistency, urgency, speed, it all matters. I mean, that's where success is. It's consistency, being urgent, and it's the speed at which you're following up. So it's hard whenever you want to provide content, but the CRM itself, if you set up your CRM and you're going to set it up based on friends and family, you're going to set it up based on referral partners I know could refer me business if I would go deeper with the connection. And then you have your clients that you've served in the past, and you have your clients that you're serving right now. If you just set up those basic categories, and then you go ahead and make sure the system knows as soon as I enter a lead into the system, you do this, and then you do this, and then you do this. And it sets up reminders for you to make the call and you to make the text, because the system is going to send the emails out. Then it's just a matter of you guys keeping up with your notes, making sure you follow the action plan. And then anytime you clear a task, reset another task. But the thing is, you got to have information to provide them that is of interest, which means y'all need to create an organized way to keep up a library of content. Anytime you guys are looking for content, maybe one of the best things to do, if you guys are not part of your real estate community, it's a private Facebook group. Nobody can see what's being posted in there except for y'all. Send a request and I'll accept the request for you guys to be in there. When you're looking for a specific article or information, post it in there and say, hey, I need this. And then if I've got it, I'll send it. If you guys have it, y'all send it. It's a place for us to go to exchange information to make sure that we're all helping each other be the best version of ourselves. It's your real estate. It's your, like all caps, your real estate community. It's just a private Facebook group I created about 10 years ago.
Part of that. And
Yeah.
that's where that was at?
If it wasn't, I think so. I try to put stuff in there that would be helpful to you guys, but I have a subscription to Keeping Current Matters, which has more charts and articles than you can ever imagine. So if you're looking for something and you can't find it, message me and I'll get it to you, because it's all in there.
Okay.
So consistency is key. You guys don't trust your brain to remember when to follow up with somebody. You have to set reminders. You have too much going on in your head. Don't give up until someone tells you to stop. 8 to 10, 4 to 6. Wednesdays and Thursdays are the best days. Put the information in a CRM, and I don't care what CRM you're using, they're all good. The purpose of the CRM is for it to be your brain. And I literally call our CRM my brain because I can't remember without it.
Sorry, back to your real estate community. Yep. I get one that says your real estate community for business growth. Is that it?
Yep.
Oh, okay. So I'm clicking join.
Okay.
I'm pending.
Okay. I'll approve in a minute.
Okay.
So your real estate community for business growth is the name. So if you guys are not already in there, get in there and I'll send you whatever you need. Yeah, the questions are whether or not you're licensed, because it is just for licensed real estate agents. I don't have affiliates in there because I don't want y'all harassed. I just want to provide you guys resources and information, and for you guys to have a safe place to exchange information. All right, you guys, I did provide you a copy of a lead tracker that we use forever and ever. That is an Excel spreadsheet. if you do nothing more than track who you've talked to and how many times you've talked to them on a piece of paper, I can send you the spreadsheet if you prefer to build it out on a spreadsheet, but I cannot stress the importance enough of getting a CRM because your brain can only remember how much, so much. But don't just plug the lead into the system, because the purpose is to connect, get in front of them face to face. It's not just to have a conversation by email and text. You can't build a relationship without seeing each other, having a real conversation. You guys, people are just as scared to talk to you as you are to them. So just have a genuine conversation. And then tracking where the referrals came from is super important so that you know how that conversation needs to go. After you've, so this is all about the lead follow-up, but you guys all need to have a really good plan to stay in touch with people after the sale. For us, we use a service called HomeBot, because HomeBot provides data for the customer that tells them how the market has shifted and changed every single month and how that affected their value. It shows them how much equity they have in their home and how they could leverage that equity in smart ways. It notifies them of any refi opportunity. It also does the calculations for them if they were to rent their house. This is right now what the market would be bringing on a rental, because if you can help someone in a house today, it's their first time they buy a house. If they can depart that house and turn that into a rental and start building a rental portfolio, having that information in front of them every single month, reminding them of the opportunity to leverage that asset to make money while they depart that home and go buy another one is huge for your business. But just providing that information, whatever your system is, you need to be staying in touch with your people at least once a month. I highly recommend you guys either have an anniversary program, an anniversary being something special you do every single year, 1 year after they signed or, bought their house. I have an anniversary and a birthday program. For me, the anniversary program, I want to help people get out of debt. We have financial literacy problem in the United States. I don't have I have the statistics on the phone. I won't pull them up for the sake of time. You guys would be shocked at how many people do not have more than $1,000 in their savings account, and they're over debt. Right now, with the feds raising rates and inflation climbing like it is, carrying credit card debt is not a good idea. So my anniversary program is all about meeting with the client and figuring out how can I help them get out of debt? How can I help them leverage the assets that they have? How can I help them find ways to save more money a month? And where should they put that savings? I am a big believer in making sure you have an emergency fund. After you have your emergency fund built out, then you can start doing some safe investments. After you get that maxed out, then you can start doing some aggressive investments, so you have the compound interest effect. But you guys don't discount the financial benefit of owning a home and the compound interest in reverse through appreciation and the fact that every single month, we as a mortgage company are forcing them to pay down the balance with their payment. So their equity is growing, their balance is coming down, giving them more to work with. But what is the smartest way for them to utilize that equity? Maybe it's to cash out so they can go buy investment property. And the numbers all make sense. But I'm not going to suggest anybody buy investment property until they have some money in the bank to pay for repairs or continue to make the mortgage payment in the event a tenant doesn't. So all of those things matter to me. I'm passionate about that. So that's what my follow-up program looks like. You guys are all passionate about other things. So whatever it is, your continuous follow-up with your database so that you can turn that one referral into a homeowner or a seller and then continue to get referrals from those people is the name of the game. And you can't do it if you don't stay connected. And people aren't going to connect with you if you don't just be you. We are all quirky. We all have weirdness to us. We all feel awkward. None of us like ourselves on camera. None of us like our voices when we replay back anything that we've recorded. So get over all of that and just connect with people and don't stop following up. People reached out for a reason. They just got distracted, and that's the only reason you haven't heard from them. They're busy, they're distracted, but they hear you and they want to know that you hear them, you see them, and you stay connected. Do you guys feel preached to about it now? When you do follow up strategically and you track it, you can predict your business. You can determine how many transactions you're going to do a year by the number of contacts you have. And you can track the conversion of those contacts as long as you're putting them in the system and you update the status. Then your business becomes predictable. I know exactly how many transactions I'm going to do in the next 60 days because I know how many people are pre-approved out house hunting right now. I know what my paycheck looks like 90 days from now because I know what my closings are 60 days from now. I don't get paid to the deal funds either. We're all in the same boat. So for that reason, I'm going to track, I'm going to be consistent, and my goal is to connect and show I care, and I'm here for them, providing what they need in order to make a decision to buy or sell. If any of you guys at any point in time want one-on-one help on how to put a system together, then you can scan this QR code from where you're at right now. You can go to that website. That goes straight to my calendar, and you guys book some time on my calendar. If you want some help doing video, I'll hit that record button and help you on video, because it is very, very, very important that you guys show your face, let people hear your voice. They need to see your body language. They need to connect with you in a way they can't connect without seeing you. And your goal is to get in front of them. Exchange energy with them. All right. We are 4 minutes over. The last thing I want to remind you guys, if you are doing business on purpose, with purpose, because you're really, really clear about how you want to do business and you're passionate about what it is that you're doing, I promise it'll show up in the profits. Purpose plus passion equals profits. But you got to have a process and a system in place to help you stay connected. All right. For those of you guys that were here for CE, you got your 1 hour complete. We'll get it recorded. For those of you guys that are here for content and information, did you get what you came here for? All right. Cool. I will be here for another 15 minutes. After that, I'm changing and going to the gym and moving some metal.
How do we sign in?
To what? Calendly?
Just for being here.
There's a sign-in sheet in the back.
Okay.
Yeah. So that I'm so glad you said that. If you're here because you want the free MLS dues, then make sure we know you were here. BJ took a roll call of everybody on Zoom. If you guys do not sign this form, she won't know you're here and you won't get credit for it. So be sure you sign that.
I don't think I did last week either. So.
Okay. Well, yeah. I'd just write it at the bottom of the page, was here last week. So if anybody did not sign in last week, sign the roster and say, and put this week and last week so we can give you credit. Next week is Mortgage 101. You guys, I can't tell you enough the importance of knowing our pre-approval letters are your prescription on how to write the contract. You don't know how to write the contract unless you talk to the lender. But even at that, if you're looking at a pre-approval letter and you have not had a conversation with the lender on how the contract needs to be written, don't be surprised if things fall apart later on. Wherever the money is coming from, you better have a conversation with whoever's writing that check. And if it's a lender writing the check, you better call that loan officer and make sure your contract matches the way the loan is set up. If you don't, and there's problems at closing, shame on you. Pick up the phone. have a conversation. Don't be scared to ask questions. It doesn't matter if you're brand new in the business. Say, hey, listen, I'm new in the business. What do I need to know to get this contract written so the deal closes just like everybody expects it to? So we'll talk next week on what that means. What do you guys need to know from a mortgage standpoint if someone was borrowing the money to buy a house using a mortgage loan? But Brandy will also cover the difference in a bank loan and a land loan. And cash is not cash if someone can't go to the bank right now and go get a cashier's check. Y'all don't freeze because someone says cash. Because I promise you, 50% of the contracts that you guys think are cash are not cash. There is some kind of contingency someone has to do to go open the line of credit, to use that line of credit. It's not cash if they can't go to the bank right now and go deposit the money at the title company. It's not cash. So don't freeze because you hear fat cash. Go verify that it really is cash before you think it's cash.
How do we present that to our buyer? I mean, how do we?
You need a proof of funds. I need a proof of funds from the bank stating that you have the ability to write this cashier's check today. As a seller's agent, if you guys are presenting multiple offers, and I've got this really cool spreadsheet now, so you guys can really pair out, you know, get all of the junk out of the contract and just down to the numbers that really matter for you guys in multiple offer situation. I'm fine tuning that, and then I'll send it out to you guys and y'all can brand it for yourselves. It's an Excel spreadsheet, super easy to use. So if you are comparing cash to financed in a multi-offer situation, make sure it's really cash, because that seller may have decided on that cash offer because they thought it was going to be quick and easy. And then you find out there's contingencies to the cash.
Now, is that required a letter from this bank, or is it a statement? Is a statement?
I would require it from the bank. I'm telling you guys, your clients don't know what they don't know. They don't do this for a living. We do. Yeah.
What do you think about third parties who turn buyers into cash buyers for like a certain percentage, but yet still work with them?
You talking about where people are doing cash, like they'll buy the house for that person? Yeah. We're about to have that product too, so I'll tell you more about it when we do. I would ask a lot of questions because I've seen some real flaky situations in the past. If someone is buying the house for your client and then they're going to rent it out, your client is no longer your client. That person buying the house is your client.
Exactly. That was my thought
Yeah.
process last night when I was researching.
Yeah.
So I reached out to lenders and-
Yep. That is, your client is no longer a client if a third party is going to buy the house and rent it out to your client.
Okay. Yeah, it said something about they had like 180 days to close with their, but they still work with the realtors.
It's a real funky deal, and they're very particular about the houses that they'll buy. And then for the client, it's really risky for the client depending on the terms, because for whatever reason they're not ready. Well, who's to promise or guarantee they're going to be ready in 180 days? And then what I've seen is the penalty for not finishing the transaction is huge. So I mean, I think it's pretty risky. Now, I'm really curious to see how Guild builds that out. We're going to have a bridge loan. We have one now, but we haven't been able to do it in Texas, but I'm working on getting it fixed so we can do a bridge loan in Texas, and we're going to have that cash buyout option. So we know and understand the market and are trying to do everything that we can to provide the products in order to help you guys continue to sell in this market where cash is king.
Yeah, because I'm finding that, you know, some of the buyers, first time home buyers, they are qualified, they have money in the bank, they can present one of the best offers, and another offer come in.
But I've had two situations just recently where I was presented the contract and it was a cash contract, but they're asking me for money. So it wasn't cash. So there's a lot of that going on too. So the seller made a decision to go with the offer for my customer based on the fact it was cash, but I'm doing the loan. So it got switched afterwards. Well, the problem is you don't have a financing addendum now. So the buyer, I mean, it's a lot of liability, but the seller in one of my situations was pretty upset about that situation. So make sure that cash is really cash.
Sometimes they'll take a cash offer for less than what you offer.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to close.
Because, yeah, because it's quick close, no appraisal, cash offer. Yeah. Yeah. That's what always is frustrating to me is my clients are getting beat out by cash offers, but are they really cash?
Yeah.
And without tracking the trailing of it all, I don't know. And I'm not going to, because I got too many other things to do. Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, they said it was cash.
I know. It's different. It's different. Yep. I thank you all so very much for being here. And I'll be in Mexico next week, so you guys get brandy.